Welcome back to another edition of Kings of the North podcast. I'm Joe Olkives here with Travis Rodriguez, and today we are talking some playoff implications. Got Packers with the Seahawks at Lambeau Field, and that's a 3:25 game tomorrow. Potential snow, and then we got Vikings traveling down to sunny Jacksonville, and I'm here with Travis. And what's going on, bud?
Not much. Just getting ready for Kyrie's little birthday party and ready to talk some football before the fact.
Yes, sir. Well, your squad obviously coming off a tough loss on Thursday Night Football, but should be well rested. Losing a tough one to the Dallas Cowboys. It was a pretty good ball game in my opinion, and kind of bringing Thursday night back on the grid as far as ratings and whatnot. I believe the highest rated Thursday night game in several years. But what'd you think coming into that game and whatnot?
Yeah, I kind of went with the mentality that that's our last game we can lose, and I was kind of expecting a loss, so I didn't really get my hopes up. But then throughout the game, I'm like, man, these guys are playing good. We can totally win this game, and I thought we had it. And then we ended up falling short, 17-15. But on paper, I mean, they lost 2 turnovers. We sacked them 3 times, which with their offensive line is definitely a win. They were 11% on third down. Dak Prescott had 124 yards passing. We held Elliott under 100. I mean, we should have won if you look at the stats, but I go back and look at 2 key plays that kind of, I would say, lost the game. Is the Rudolph drop in the end zone, and we had set for a field goal. At that point, we were up 9-7, and then we stopped them the next possession. They punted to Thielen. He tries to do too much. He fumbles. They score the next play. At that point, I was making my lunch for the next day at work and kind of just expected a loss. Came back, started watching the last drive. We score. At this point, my face is in my pillow, waiting for the 2-point conversion, and we didn't get it, and we lose.
Yeah, definitely a tough loss for you guys, especially coming down to as far as playoff implications and whatnot. Every game is huge, and I was definitely glad to see you guys drop that one up there in the Bank Stadium. But now you guys moving on, and looks like Jacksonville squad, who hasn't really played up to expectations this year. What's your thoughts headed into this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we're playing the Jaguars at the right time. Sneakily, though, they're actually a pretty good defense. As far as yards total and passing yards, they're actually 4th in passing yards and 2nd in total, or 2nd in pass yards, 4th in total yards. But then the points, they're 26th in defense on points, and I think a lot of that has to do with maybe some special teams plays, and Bortles had 6 pick sixes this year. So, and against our very fluky bad offense, their defense can match up pretty well.
Yeah, but they do, like you said, they do got a lot of young talent and whatnot. It could be coming down to those turnovers and whatnot. As long as you guys are able to take care of the ball, and then on the other side, your defense, like you said, Bortles highest in the league for pick sixes, and if you guys are able to take advantage of him there, should swing your way pretty easily. But if that team's able to take care of the ball, could be a close game on the road there in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at all the stats and say that this is going to be a close game. I don't see it like that. Bortles is only completing 58%, and I'm sure, I don't have the stat in front of me, but our defense is holding opposing quarterbacks to similar numbers, if not worse. So if he's doing that against quote-unquote average defenses, and then he comes to play one of our defenses, which in my mind is elite, I think that's even going to drop. And, our defense has been making pick 6 plays, all that type of good, very splashy defensive plays all year. So I think we'll exploit that. Hopefully our offense turns it up a notch. Maybe we can get 100-yard rushing as a team collectively. That'd be sweet. Haven't done that all year. We're 32nd in rush at 72 yards a game.
That'd be solid for me. I got
they let up 100 yards a game, so I'm thinking we can definitely heat something up and get going on the ground.
I got a Jerick McKinnon starting in fantasy playoffs this week. Not particularly excited about it. Not a horrible matchup though, but I got Zeke Elliott, and then my choices were McKinnon or Sproles, and with Ryan Matthews back, I don't trust that. But moving onward, Harrison Smith is gonna be missing this game, and sounds like the rest of the season. Do you think that plays a big factor, and what are they gonna do there as far as his absence?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime Smith's off the field, that's definitely a big hurt in my opinion. He's probably one of our best defensive players. It sounds like he's out this game, and Zimmer won't really commit to how long. I'm just gonna hopefully go on the positive sides of things, is that people are just speculating on. You know, at this point, we did well without him last year for 3 games, so I'm not terribly concerned. And, you know, we're facing, if we're playing the Packers this week, I'd be a little nervous, but we're facing a guy like Blake Bortles who hasn't really took that next step. He's kind of an average quarterback, but he makes plays. He's got 20 touchdowns, but as I've said before, he's the ultimate garbage time quarterback. So I'm thinking we'll be up big, and maybe he throws his touchdown for the day. But yeah, anytime Smith's off the field, it hurts regardless of who you're playing.
Yep. Well, like I kind of compared Bortles to Carr all season, just kind of how they were both young quarterbacks at the beginning of the year that were like looking to turn things around and take that next step. Carr obviously has, but he did have a tough week this week, and I'm thinking maybe that being the case, Carr's look like Bortles. Maybe Bortles will look like Carr this week, and he'll turn it around and play a type of game that he's kind of been expected to all year and kind of get it together. I don't know. But let's get
only you can hope, huh, Joe? Yeah, I'm thinking you're reaching, but only you can hope. I can respect that. You want us to lose. We're in a playoff race.
Let's get your final prediction and just like one key player to keep an eye on that you think will have a huge impact on this game.
Final prediction: 27-10. McKinnon. I'm looking at like an 80-yard rushing game. Maybe 40 in the pass with a receiving touchdown. And it'll be like 27-3 in my honest opinion. And garbage time Bortles will come out and do his thing. So I'm going 27-10 with the big game out of McKinnon. And I just picked him up in my fantasy league, but I have a bye this week. And I would for surely start him over any of my running backs this week, but next week will be tough. But anyways, yeah, I'm going Vikings 27-10.
Yep, I got McKinnon in our league, so hoping for a big one. I'm predicting a Vikings loss on the road, probably like 13-16, something like that. And and then it'll be Packers Green Bay in a couple weeks, and I'll be looking forward to that one after you guys come back home and play the Colts. But that's all I got for this Vikings game. I think it'll be a good one and pretty much come down to turnovers and some special teams play. But
yeah, I'm looking for an offensive splash out of Bradford. My goodness, I mean, he's just been there. He's been what we wanted out of Teddy last year, just the game manager. But we need a little bit more. But moving forward, your team won last week against the shitty Texans, 21-13. The score makes it closer than it really was. It was 21-7 in the fourth, late in the fourth. How do you feel about that win and moving forward with the Packers?
Well, yeah, it's finally nice to come home and have a pretty convincing win at home after a tough November stretch. We were able to go to Philadelphia and beat them, and then bounce right back against the Texans. Obviously, not a huge test with Brock Osweiler, and we kind of got our warm-up snowy game last week, and now is going to be the real test with Seattle traveling to Green Bay at Lambeau Field. Similar type conditions, should be a little colder, maybe even a little more snowy. I know it's supposed to snow early in the day and kind of simmer down late afternoon, so being a 3:25 game, it might kind of be towards the end of the snow at that point, but if it was a noon game, it looks like they would be in the thick of things. But I don't know how big of an effect that'll have on the game. Hopefully it'll immobilize Russell Wilson a little bit and play to our favor, because Rodgers can play kind of either in the pocket or obviously moving around. But it should be a fun game to watch, and I'm definitely a little bit nervous coming into it. What are you thinking just straight off the bat?
Yeah, I think if it was snowing, the court would definitely be in the Packers' favors. But these Seahawks can play in cold conditions. I witnessed this last year in the playoff game. I was there that -20 wind chill day, and we dominated and we let it go. Seems similar to this season's losses, but they can play in the cold, so I don't think that's going to affect them too much. But I look for this to kind of be a lower scoring game, and probably the last possession will control the destiny of each team. And it'll be fun to watch, and I'll probably be watching it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm.
Depending if my squad loses. If my squad loses, I pretty much shut football down for the day because I'm not even playing in any fantasy that means anything tomorrow. So, but my squad will win, and I'll probably be interested to watch your squad lose.
Yeah, I see. My keys for this one, special teams. They got Tyler Lockett. He's an explosive playmaker, and if we're letting him run loose, it could definitely turn the table the Seahawks' direction. Also, obviously, it's going to be kind of down to Rodgers versus Wilson, who has a better game there. And then, obviously, injury-wise, no Earl Thomas on the Seahawks side, no Nick Perry on the Packers side. Clay Matthews been playing banged up the last couple of weeks, and
we might as well just say no Clay Matthews because he hasn't been nowhere to be found the last 2 weeks. So.
Out of his 29 snaps, he had 0 plays where he had a stat line like a tackle or anything. He did nothing last week, so
he was just a blob for 29 plays. That's awesome.
Literally. So, but it sounds like he's good to go this week at least until he takes that first contact and gets laid out again by somebody. Then who knows? But if he's able to have an impact on the game, it'll definitely help. Because Packers.
I'm sure it doesn't help that the Seahawks are coming off a 40-7 win against the Panthers. So I think their offense is coming in hot, and I believe that game was on the road as well. Or no, I think they were at home. But anyways, nonetheless, they scored 40 points last week to what was a great defense last year and an average defense this year.
Yeah, I picked the Carolina Panthers in that game. I don't know what's wrong with their squad or if it's just Seattle's that hot right now, but hopefully we're able to at least put a little bit of pressure on Jimmy Graham and whatnot and make his day not so easy. But, yeah,
here's a little nugget for you. I mean, I've even been a victim of this. I've said Nelson's kind of having a quiet year. I guess you could say yardage-wise, but the man, I think tied for first or in the top 3 of touchdown receptions. He got 10 touchdown catches. So, I mean, people that think he's having a quiet year, myself included, I think it's a little misconstrued a little bit. I think he's just doing what he's done before. He's maybe lost a step since the injury, so he's not getting those big, long yardage plays, but he's finding the end zone just fine.
Well, Jordy Nelson actually, as far as his production and whatnot, has been increasing. Had a few quiet games, but it looks like Rodgers finally has that chemistry back with him. And that's another thing I didn't really touch on about that Texans game. He was throwing those back shoulders. And early in the year, Jordy was kind of he was looking a little skittish and whatnot, and he wasn't back to that full speed, full health. Last week he was flying around, making plays, looking confident. He was taking on contact, and he was using that yards after the catch, yards after contact. He was lowering his shoulder, running through guys. And that was the first time I've seen him do that all year. Typically, he's been catching the ball and going down. And that was actually pretty huge for me to see. At least I was surprised, and I forgot about that. But I'm glad you brought it up. But I think Jordy Nelson is back, and Devontae Adams has been playing great all year. So I think Packers offense is not going to have a problem, and I'm curious to see how they use Ty Montgomery, Christine Michael, those guys. Obviously, Stark's probably going to get the start, but I think it's a huge game for the Packers to get Ty Montgomery involved, who's been fairly quiet ever since the last 4 or 5 games since he had that big game. But I think he could be a X factor in this one.
Absolutely, you can. I mean, even when he's having an off game, he's getting 80 total yards from scrimmage. So he's making an impact nonetheless. As far as predictions goes and things like that, key factors, what do you got?
Well, yeah, like I said, it's going to come down to Rodgers versus Wilson, I think, and probably Packers defense just being able to just contain Jimmy Graham enough to keep him from having like a Gronk type game or Travis Kelce type game. If you see him going off and breaking tackles and running all over the yard, it's going to open up everything for them. But I think it starts with the run. They're going to have to shut down Thomas Rawls, who's had a big game as of recently, and pretty much just that defense being able to limit the Seahawks' opportunities and just get off the field and Packers just sustaining drives and scoring touchdowns. But I think we'll be able to get it done. I think the weather will play to our favor, but honestly, it could really mean nothing. But either way, I think the Packers' offense is going to be able to get it together, and hopefully the Seahawks aren't wasted a lot of their points last week against Carolina. So I'm going to go Green Bay. I said they're going to come down. It's going to come down to Rodgers' last drive, and he's going to throw a touchdown, and they're going to go up and win the game there. So it's going to be like 30-26 type game or something with a last-minute touchdown pass for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks defense is better than that, and I think their defense matches up better against your offense, whereas vice versa. Your defense, I don't think, matches up against their offense, but their offense isn't very consistent. I'm going to go with a 23-17 Seahawks win with Graham making an impact as tight ends have all year against you guys, and then just a mistake or two out of Rodgers, and I think that'll pretty much seal the deal. The Seahawks are fighting for that second seed over the Lions, I guess you'd say at this point. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks. And if either of our team loses, it's a long stretch to the playoffs for any of us. So, I mean, I guess I wish you the best, but I really don't. And I hope we win and you guys lose.
Yeah, as far as playoffs go, definitely key games for both the Packers and the Vikings. And then the Lions playing the Bears. We're going to be some Bears fans for the week, too, because we're both kind of fighting for the division. We're 2 games back, you're 1. So hopefully wish you guys the best and whatnot. But looking for Packers victory. Going to be a stressful game. I think it could swing either way, but that's about all.
The thing with the Lions, you guys have the upper hand on them so far. So as far as division winning, I look at it as my Vikings. We don't have a shot in hell to win the division, but you guys play the Lions one more time and you've already beat them. So you guys have a better shot at the division, but I still think Detroit's going to win it overall. Big game for us as the NFC North Packers Vikings fans. We want the Eagles to beat the Giants, and if either of us win, at that point we'll be the 6th seed and control our own destiny. So look forward to that. Other than that, it should be a fun weekend, and if we lose, I'm going to lose touch with reality for a little bit and come back to earth. But if we win, I'm going to be all on the Vikings high horse.
Well, I hate to say it, but probably not going to see the Packers game then, because you guys are going to fall apart in Jacksonville, and the Jaguars playing that spoiler, and they're going to want to play for their fans, one of their last home games. And you're going to be taking a nap early on Sunday. And we'll talk some Packers, Vikings recap later next week, as well as our rapid fire segment. But that's all I got.
Yeah, Gus Bradley, Minnesota native. I'm pretty sure Will probably paid him off anyway. So we're good to go there.
Wilf's homeboy out there. Yeah, it's quite possible. I could see that. But also, he's one of the richest owners in the league, too, so over there in Jacksonville. So who knows? We'll see what happens. But thanks, everybody, for listening, and we will catch you on the flip side next week.
Absolutely. Skull Vikings, and it's an interesting NFC North race. Let's get it.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.